I was diagnosed with endometriosis at the age of 27, and that was 13 years after I had started my periods. And just to help you understand what endometriosis is, it's painful cramps. Like, think about like just very painful cramps that would actually make you or cause you to either get admitted or just to be very reliant on pain medication. Period pain has been normalized, and therefore a lot of women are suffering out there think that it is normal for them to suffer in pain. And so for me, I thought about it and I was like, I don't think this is right. I don't think what is going on with my body, I should be suffering in silence. So I just started finding out, just doing some research, just trying to understand the disease. Because even when I was diagnosed, the doctor was tried to make me understand what it was. And the easiest way he could describe it was my uterus was growing inside out. So everywhere I kept going, I kept telling people my uterus is growing inside out. So it looked like this disease that was very, very interesting and abnormal, so to speak. But it had a name. The worst example was there was, when I went to an ER, I will not name the hospital, and these doctors took forever to give me the injection. Because usually, what was my routine is I would not even go into the queue, like like the normal queue when you go into hospital. I would immediately go to an ER because the emergency room, because it's an emergency. I need my jab there and then. Let me tell you, I think those people took like 45 minutes. I remember I wailed. I walked out of that clinic. And not a clinic, the hospital. And it's a big renowned hospital. Imagine, I was barely walking. I was almost crawling. And I couldn't believe that the doctors were treating it like, it's just period pain. We'll come to you when we come to you. Just chill. So I went to another to a clinic that was next door, and they gave me immediate attention. Like, just as immediately as I walked in, they put me on a bed and they rushed me into the ER section, got the jab, slept and rested, and then woke up and went home. So that's the thing, man. This is not normal, guys. Help a woman. If we are giving cancer, if we're giving diabetes the focus that it is getting, why aren't we giving endometriosis the focus that it needs to get? One of the ways that you can diagnose that you have endometriosis, which I went through, was a laparoscopy. And this is an minimal invasive surgery, so where the gynecologist goes in, or the expert goes in with equipment that can help him see. So not cut you open, but they go in with some tools, very, very interesting tools, to just see where the endometrial tissues are and where the lesions are, so that they can remove them. And also, what this procedure also helps them see is the extent of the disease. Because I didn't know, and some of the research helped me understand, is that endometriosis can spread as far as the brain and the lungs. And so for me, it had gone as far back as the outside of the uterus, around my ovaries, in the rectum also. And so that's what my doctor was able to see. And then she later diagnosed now for me a treatment course. So I went, so like I said, I've gone through 2 surgeries to remove 2 cysts. The first one was on the left ovary, and then this last one that I went through was on the right ovary. And some of the symptoms that I manifested included painful bowel movement. So like, it was very, very difficult for me to go to the toilet, poop, excuse me. And then I had very, very chronic pain. The pain of, I would miss work for even 2 days every week. And another way the disease also manifested was I developed cysts, and so that had to be surgically removed because it was also it was uncomfortable in that area, in my pelvic area. It was very, very uncomfortable.
What the endometrium is the layer that's right here in the uterus. So endometriosis means that this layer that usually bleeds out into the cervix has moved to areas outside of the uterine cavity. So it's basically the endometrium outside of its normal place. The commonest symptom is dysmenorrhea, and dysmenorrhea means painful periods. So the common girl or woman who has endometriosis has extremely painful, crampy periods. So it's not the common, it's not a common period where I can pop a brufen and go to work. It's the dysmenorrhea, or it's the cramping that will cause you not to be able to go to work. Some of these women experience extreme pain, nausea, diarrhea, vomiting. So, there's a lot that goes on with it. But the first and most common symptom is painful periods. Some also get painful intercourse. That's also a common cause. Some also, when it has gone to colon, they could also get bloody diarrhea. But that's quite uncommon, but those are other symptoms. There are not very many treatment options. I think endometriosis, first to diagnose it is quite difficult, because the key diagnostic component of endometriosis is a laparoscopic surgery. This is where we go into the belly button and put 2 little port sites on both sides of the abdomen and go and check for spots of endometriosis in the abdominal cavity. A scan can sometimes suggest endometriosis when we see a little cyst or a cyst in the ovary that looks, what they say, it looks echogenic, hypoechogenic. So it looks different, that kind of cyst, but it's not a definite diagnosis of endometriosis.
So when the first time it was diagnosed, I went on to a hormonal therapy. So I was on a drug called Zoladex. And Zoladex was oh my God, it is so painful. It's put under your skin. It's like right under your skin on the navel. And it's the most painful thing for 6 months. 27,000. And you can imagine what hormonal therapy induces is menopause for women who are not in the menopausal phase. So talk about the effects of the drugs. Hot flashes, headaches, mood swings, oh my goodness, something else. And imagine, after 6 months of all this, my hope was that, like after I'm done, that it would be gone. Let me tell you, immediately I finished the dose like this, the pains were back. I remember I called the doctor and just asked him, did you play me? Like, was all that in vain? Like, why am I back in hospital? I was screaming. I remember I was in an emergency room, and I was just screaming at the doctor, telling him, you played me, like, why is the pain back and stuff like that. But it was what it was then. So the next time I went in for surgery was when I was 34. And then I got onto a new drug because I told the doctor of what I experienced. And I was like, please find me something else, because I'm not willing to go through the hot flashes, the mood swings and stuff like that. And that's another thing that women must do. So talk about the effects of the drugs, because you are also entitled to trying out a new drug or changing your medication or your course of treatment. If the side effects are too much for you, tell the doctor. So what happened is, this doctor was kind enough, and I got another drug called Visan by Bayer East Africa. And my goodness, that one, fine, was bearable, but I had sleepless nights. And so the other thing to recognize is that different drugs have different effects on different women. So how you will encounter that drug is not the same way I will experience it. So Visan was good to me. So, but sleepless nights. I was tired, but I just had to find something to counter the sleeplessness. So I started taking hibiscus tea and also chamomile tea. So try and change like that. Realize, okay, fine, the drug is doing its work, but can I find something else to counter the side effects? I did research on the drug to understand what that drug is. That drug is designed to treat the lesions and the adhesions that form as a result of the endometriosis. And the doctor can help you understand that.
Yeah.
But that's one of the things which really, really worked for me this last time. And so for me, you can see why I really want another woman's pain to end. I really, because mine has ended, I want to help another woman.
Once we see it, if we had gained consent, one of the things that we can do is ablate it or kind of try and remove it if it's in a good area that is accessible and that we think won't bleed too much, if we have the equipment and the skill to do it at that particular time. If it's very inflamed, meaning it will bleed and we think that it's going to bleed, we might decide to not do too much then, but put you on some hormonal treatment that basically reduces the inflammation and causes it to kind of shrink. There are monthly ones that we can give for 6 months, or there are 3 monthly ones that we can give twice, and just to calm it down. But basically, the key treatment is to remove the lesions, which is done laparoscopically. Sometimes it is hard. If the lesions are in the vagina or in the colon or in the lungs or in the liver, that's a very difficult surgery to do. Yeah, but it is the way to go.
Even though it was unbearable, after the 6 months, you're just there, you're crossing your fingers, you're like, when my periods come back, will I be in pain? And when they came, it was like, oh my God, my periods are here and there's no pain. It was like, glory to God. I jumped and I screamed I had so much joy, I had so much peace. And for me, that's what actually even just turned it around. And also the fact that I know I'm convicted and just convinced that, yes, they're doctors, they're the experts, they're the ones who understand the disease, but I believe it is God who is the great physician. He's the one who gives these doctors the knowledge and the understanding. He gives them the gifts to be able to treat us and just even, just do more research. It is one of the most misdiagnosed condition. It's actually one of 15 diseases, one of 15 conditions that doctors get wrong, because the symptoms that are manifested by the women are actually similar to some diseases like cervical cancer, are similar to like irritable bowel syndrome. Like, for example, for me, because I used to have like a problem going to the toilet, big toilet, if a doctor doesn't know what this is, he would actually misdiagnose it. For that, and you've read about Jambi's story. I don't know if you've read about Jambi Koikai's story. Yeah. Where her lung collapsed 3 times. So she was seeing the wrong doctor, and even the doctor that she was seeing was not treating the right thing. Mm-hmm. So much as her lung was collapsing, needed to be restored, the root cause of the lung collapsing was not being addressed. And later on, she discovered that she had an endometrial cells, the endometrial lesions on her lungs, and that was what was causing her lung collapse. They're still trying to discover what the cause is. So we want these doctors to tell the women. Don't tell them oh my goodness, please do not tell women to go and get pregnant, that getting pregnant will cure, because that's another myth. So getting pregnant does not resolve the issue. A hysterectomy does not resolve the issue. And so can the doctors give solutions that are sustainable? Because imagine if you're, for example, you're 27 or you're 24 when you're being diagnosed, because there are some women I've encountered who've been told, go and have a child. And they're like, but I don't even have the financial ability. So that was what I was told even when I was 27. Chick, Elsie, start thinking about getting a child now. Because yes, we know that the women who suffer with endometriosis, they struggle to get children. But there are success stories out there. There are women who were told they will never have children. Again, that's another thing that the doctor should stop telling us. Stop telling women that they will never have children. Give them hope, for Christ's sake. Like, why am I coming to see you for you to make my day worse? Tell me, give me some hope. At least tell me, hey, look, we will work on it. It will take some work, but you will get children. Don't try and just burst my bubble.
Endometriosis causes difficulty when trying to conceive, but it is not an absolute that if I have endometriosis, I'm not going to conceive. There are people who have endometriosis, have no issues, did diet, and have conceived naturally without any problems. The problem comes in when there's a lot of endometriosis on the ovaries, or there are different stages. So if you're in the higher stages of endometriosis, it becomes a bit difficult because of the inflammatory cells. It's thought, these are theories, that it is more difficult to conceive because they affect ovulation, they affect implantation.
If you value your life, then you've got to know that the power is in your hands. So when you're sitting with that doctor and they're telling you, no, there is nothing wrong with you, because this has been said in some doctors' visits, people are told, no, in fact, I think you're stressed, or this is a manifestation of stress, or this is, all in your mind. There are doctors out there who say those kinds of things. So we are empowering women to know, one, you have the right to go and seek a second and a third and a fourth opinion. If you feel that your doctor is not treating you or giving you the sufficient medical attention, then go to another doctor. This disease completely, it just paralyzes women during their most productive years of their lives. I mean, think about a woman who has to miss 2 days of their work day every month because of their periods. Think about also a woman who has to spend lots of money, because a laparoscopy is not cheap. It is expensive because it's not also covered by the insurance companies, and also the treatment. So the hormonal therapy, like for example, the first one that I took cost me about 27,000 every month. So you can see the effects. It's not only just the woman alone who is suffering. It's a societal issue. It's affecting families, it's affecting organizations, and that's why the Endometriosis Foundation is here. We want to raise awareness. We want to tell people this disease exists. Can we get you guys to partner with us?
Laparoscopic surgery, is new age. So one of the things, it's new, the high-tech machines that cost a lot of money. The gases that we use also cost a lot of money. So the cost implications for surgical intervention are roughly anything between 250 to even 700,000. Yeah. The drugs that they take monthly are also quite costly, because one drug could cost from 7,000 to 22,000 depending on which make that you're actually using. Mm-hmm. So that's either a monthly or a 3-monthly injection. So it is costly. There, however, now are drugs that you can pop, like daily pills that you can take, which are not so expensive, but still, if you're taking them for 6 months, it will be a cost of about 6,000, 7,000.
Reduce a lot on gluten-free products, because some of the foods that we're consuming accelerate, the pain, and actually don't make it easier for you during that period. So, reduce on wheat products, because if one of the things that happens when you have endometriosis is bloating. So imagine you're eating wheat, your stomach is continuing to bloat. So we've got to find other alternatives.
Our diet really makes a difference. We didn't used to see endometriosis a while ago. Mm-hmm. Actually, endometriosis was thought to be a white person's disease. and was found in Europe and everywhere. But interestingly, now we're seeing it more in the upper class, unfortunately. And that's because our diet is terrible. We don't exercise, we drive our cars everywhere. So, diet has helped. People who have gone off wheat, have gone off sugars, have gone off all these refined foods, and have taken to more organic and more vegetables and fruits, and they do well. Their cramps are less painful. I have patients we've done nothing else, and they have actually conceived with it. I mean, just on diet, so it does help.
We want to ask the employers, will you extend us grace? Will you extend us just if I utilize all my 14 days, for example, are you willing to give me one additional day every month for as long as I'm suffering? But I've not heard of any stories of people being denied. I think what is usually the issue is women are unable to speak up and are unable to call it for what it is. So you just say, I'm sick. That's it. But you're not saying that this is endometriosis. It's a monthly occurrence. I consider it a gift. If a woman is doing the natural thing that her body is actually designed to do, then it is important for us to address that issue. If a woman is unable to bring children into this world, then it means she will not be performing her role, that she was made to do while she was here on earth. I'd like to encourage women. Imagine, don't be afraid of talking about it. There is nothing to be ashamed about it. One of the things which I've learned is by sharing my own story, I'm helping another woman come out. You've got to enjoy this journey. This is part of life. This is how we've been made. This is how we've been built. I can't live in fear or in shame that my body is doing what it was naturally designed to do. And so it's just important for me to share that hope with another woman. We also want to do some research to understand how many women are actually suffering in Kenya, because the current statistics that is being shared globally and by most of the organizations out there that are raising awareness, which is 1 in every 10 women around the world are suffering. So bringing the number to about 176 million women globally who are suffering from endometriosis. We don't know whether that number actually captures, Africa or even Kenya. So we want to just establish that statistic and understand, okay, so how many women are actually affected? Do women actually know that this is a condition that they're suffering from?
I would say if you have pain that is causing you not to go to work, if you're constantly popping pills, and usually endometriotic pain usually starts a day or two earlier before the period comes, and then it really hits when the period starts. And this is one of the characteristics. So that kind of pain that is excruciating, you can't go to work, or you're always popping, or you're doing Brufens or these painkillers every 2 hours or 3 hours just to survive, I think that's a giveaway.
If these women do not get care from a medical and even just emotional, and just if they don't get that care, if we do not support them, they'll just go into depression, and their self-esteem will be impacted. So as the foundation, that's what we want to do. We just want to make sure that these women do not feel like they're alone. The government just needs to support the doctors who are doing research, one. Secondly, the government needs to speak into the issue about, can we be covered by the insurance companies and stop being treated, because when you go into a medical insurance company, they'll tell you they do not cover it because it is categorized as a terminal and a recurring illness. People don't know about what this disease is. So I think the more we talk about it, the more people come to terms and understand what the disease is all about. I think, that's where I think we can begin to make the difference. And that's where we can begin to just engage in just constructive conversation. Because for as long as we keep quiet, no one will know about the disease. But if we talk about it, we'll raise awareness and we'll begin to have conversation around it. As we partner with, the doctors and the experts, it's also to partner with schools, because in high schools and in universities, that's when most of these girls are discovering that they're actually going through these issues. So it's to go to schools, talk to the institution, talk to the girls who are there. That when these symptoms are manifesting during your period, you can actually seek medical attention. It is important and critical, because like I said earlier, we do not realize or understand that one of the things or one of the repercussions of this disease is infertility. We have a page on Facebook, the Endometriosis Foundation of Kenya. We've got a page on Instagram, we've got a page on Twitter, and also you can reach me, so myself personally, on Facebook, Hadassah Wandera, or Queen Hadassah on other platforms. So the address is endometriosis254@gmail.com. It starts with God. Seek God, by the way. I believe He can heal you on a very personal level. And so that's my other encouragement to women, that, just put God at the forefront of this condition. Because if there is no known cure, with God, everything is possible. With man, it might seem impossible, or with God, everything is possible.